talk about how when someone is eager to leave high school, because I know I was eager to leave. I was ecstatic to see a world on my own, learn things on my own, and of course not lose track, but at the same time have guidance, of course. I was thinking to myself, maybe I could go to college, meet new friends, and maybe college could help me lead me into a path that I would find intriguing. At first, I did what a common degree that everybody pretty much did, and it was criminal justice, which I thought it would help me out indeed, guide me, maybe do something great. But with a little bit of research, I come to find out it was not the degree for me. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to achieve something good in my life. My I have a twin brother, and his mind was already set when we both entered college together. He did engineering, and I thought, you know what, that's great for him, because usually we do things similar, but I wanted to do something on my own. And what I ended up doing was that I come to find out I wanted to help people and do something good for the community, even beyond maybe. Who knows? So I did some research into the medical field, and I wanted to touch base with it to see how it's like, how you feel about it, how one feels about it. So I ended up doing the fire department, which was wonderful. It was great. And what I did was, when I joined this fire department, I wasn't sure what type of responsibilities I would have as an individual. It taught me some wonderful skills, which I knew that I could use later on for jobs or careers later on in life. And it was teamwork, leadership. It was great because I was able to take all kinds of firefighting classes in college, as well as EMT. I had the opportunity to get into house fires, which your adrenaline would rush so much. At times, it was really hot inside a house fire, or even brush fires. The thrill of it was great, as well as having a connection with the patient in the field. I got the perception of it and helping people out. So with the EMT class, I had the chance to do my clinicals at the hospital, ride-alongs with paramedics and the fire department. I got to learn how to keep a patient in comfort when they are in pain, because they look up to us to help them out. And of course, I would use the scope of practice that I was taught in school, so I could use to help a patient in need. And in doing so, I found intriguing. I found the excitement of it, a good feeling about it, and it was wonderful. I was able to learn so much in the EMT class, being able to patch up a patient, intubate, and it was wonderful. And when I got close to finishing, I had no idea what to do after I was done finishing. When I was about done with my classes, EMT basic class, I had to look into the future to where I was going to work. Maybe further myself in the fire department, work in the paramedic with the paramedics in a van, or look somewhere else. So I was like, what the heck? I'm gonna look inside a hospital. Maybe, perhaps I could learn a bit more of my practice in a hospital environment. I applied at the hospital, not knowing if I was going to be able to get hired. Of course, I just got barely done with the EMT basic. I had only a few years with the fire department. I was a lieutenant with the department as well. So putting that in my resume was at least decent enough to look good. I got a phone call one day if I could do a sit down interview with the supervisor at the time. And of course, I said yes. And with emotions running through me, I had a great talk with the supervisor. Because it turns out he was a fellow firefighter as well. We got to talking about all kinds of fires, situations we had been, and it was wonderful being able to talk to somebody who's been in the same field as you. In doing so, he was quite intrigued on what I brought to the table. And a couple weeks later, I get a phone call again from the hospital, thinking maybe it's a second interview or not. But this woman on the phone told me, "Would you like to work at the hospital?" And of course, I said yes. When I said yes, I was like, she said, "Okay, great. Come tomorrow. Fill out some papers." After I hung up on the phone, I was excited to tell my friends, my family, about the wonderful news that I will bring to them. I did not know where my path would lead me, but I knew my path was going to be in aiding people in a hospital environment. I had just remembered like if it was yesterday, my first day in the hospital, that I would definitely enjoy, full of excitement. I had just finished signing some paperwork in HR department. The lady took a picture of me, printed out my badge, my full name and such, and my job title, anesthesia technician. I was excited. I was eager to work, try something different. I was able to learn something, or going to learn, in other words, something no other family member has ever done. And no one that I know has ever worked in a hospital environment. So I remember I was lead into the locker room, change into my scrubs, which felt, by the way, they do feel like wearing pajamas. I come out, put on my shoe covers, my surgical bandana, my surgical mask, and I just remember it was like 64 degrees in the operating rooms. So many people running or walking super fast to get supplies or going into an operation room. It was crazy. You only see things in the movies and shows, and at the same time they have you running, they're calling, asking for things, assistance to intubate a patient. It is crazy. It is fun. The excitement is awesome. Something to look forward to. I have never got to touch an anesthesia machine, So I had no idea how it worked. This is the first time I've ever worked in this type of field because EMT basic was just outside of the hospital environment, and learning how to patch a patient up and just send them to the hospital. I never knew how they worked or why. I have gotten the privilege to work with excellent anesthesia providers who taught me on how medication works to help a patient out, put to sleep out, and as well as anesthetic gases. It was a good thing to learn and so much to take in. What was tiring about it was the fact that you are constantly running up and down the halls 8 hours a day. You're sweating even though if it's 60 degrees, 64. It was a tiring job. I I was exerting myself. I just there are moments you are have to take call over the weekend, which was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it was a solid of 57 hours of call. At any moment, you could be called into work. I just remember one time when it was about 3 in the morning, I had gotten a phone call from the nurse that was on call saying that there was an emergency heart coming in. I had just remembered I kicked it in overdrive and drove fast to work. Little did I know about this kind of work is that you're always moving at 100 miles per hour, even in an emergency case, even in something simple in the middle of the night. And I believe that was my first CPR that I'd ever done on any patient. I go set up the room, I get everything ready. Next thing you know, I just see him bringing a patient and I assist them with CPR. After those daring moments of doing CPR on someone, I felt it quite odd. A feeling that felt weird that somebody was just alive a minute ago. After working for a few years already, I felt like I needed a change in my life. Like maybe I could go back to school and finish my fire science degree. Maybe try something in the hospital instead of anesthesia technician. I wasn't too sure. Learning more of the aspect of it because I was able to break down machines, learn more of it, try even to get more certifications for myself, of course, so I could later on use it in any skills, any job I am going to need later on in life if I ever switch. It was not long when my twin brother graduated in the engineering department. His degree looked interesting. I took it upon myself to look into it more. I like the way the math works, the technology works, the way he was showing me about the lasers and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I need to think about this. Maybe I should go back to school. I could try something different. There's not wrong about trying to learn something else new all the time, especially if you don't have kids like I don't, or my wife. It was great because I got myself back into school and trying an electrical engineering degree. It was fun, I got touch base with computer science class, a little bit of programming. I liked it so far. I kept pushing myself into it. Of course, still working at the hospital because I needed to pay for school. Working 8 hours a day, taking call, and then doing homework at the same time was really tough. A time that I worked in the hospital, usually 8-hour shifts, rooms are busy, people calling for things, assistants when doing induction, which is totally normal. I get a phone call from the charge nurse on the SpectraLink phone. She says she needed me in the room stat, which when they say stat, they mean to hurry up. So I was running to the ENT room. ENT means ear, nose, and throat room. As I entered the room, that's when I noticed that nurses or techs were doing CPR on the infant. And I was a little bit quite shocked, but it's my job. I had to kick into gear. I went to ask the anesthesia provider to see if they needed anything. They were okay. I went around the table to assist in doing CPR on the infant, so small and fragile. We were able to get the oxygen levels and EKG back up on the patient and stabilize them for now. But in those critical moments, things could go south so fast. And it's just those moments hit you when it's just like so much. You're doing CPR on an infant. You're using literally 2 fingers on a patient's chest. So after that, we stabilized the patient. We took the patient to an intensive care unit to be monitored because of what happened in the situation. Of course, I wasn't there when it happened. I got called, I guess, half after it happened. Okay. It was at that moment my life changed for me. I would have never thought I'd ever do CPR on an infant, ever. The 8 years that I worked as an anesthesia tech, it hit me deep inside. I just remember getting home, and my wife asked me what's wrong. I told her what happened, and the little one didn't make it. And it was then I did not want to do this anymore. I felt sick inside, not right at all. I just wanted to stay home, not go have dinner like we had planned, visit family over the weekend. I have done plenty of CPR on adults, but on a newborn just didn't feel right, just didn't sit in right. And that's when I knew that I wanted a change, a different career path. Those types of incidents, they never go away. They're our memory, they're stuck in your head, and they never leave. I ended up doing more research on the different types of careers I could start or do. I continued coding a little bit. I started a business with my wife, which was great. Even going back to school to do something else, it was a life changing for me. But since then, I've been feeling a lot better, and now I could focus on more important things in life.